Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I am Angelo Mazzocco with AVAAP, and we are partnering with CDO Magazine, MIT CDOIQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with Jenna Zhou, Director of Enterprise Information Architecture at Dell. Jenna, one of the things I noticed is that you have two master's degrees. You have one that is more technical and one that is less technical, an MBA and an MS degree. And it just caught my attention that perhaps this is something that gives you the understanding and wisdom to be able to work with this type of technology. Does that give you, a step up, so to speak, or the opportunity to work with that more easily than someone maybe that didn't have both?
I would say certainly, right? I'm a learner. I enjoy going to school, get educated. It provides multidimensional thinking and a different perspective. So it's not just technology, right? It's also about the business value. So be able to combine these two together certainly gives a more comprehensive view at those challenging situations. So yes, but I would say people learn things differently, right? Not everyone have to go to school to get dual degrees to be able to do this. But the real importance is be able to connect the technology with the business on the foundation of the data and the information.
One of the presentations that I read that you had put together talked about case studies for the enterprise information governance. And I was curious if you could point out a couple of those case studies and what was the reason that you brought up the case studies to show, what value, if you could tell us a couple of those.
Yes, we actually launched the enterprise information governance through multiple strategic programs. The first one we worked with is for Workday. Basically, we were migrating the HR system to Workday, the cloud implementation. They have tons of integrations there. So we helped them establish the governance through that process. That certainly put us ahead of the time with all those privacy regulations because we already got our employee data and well controlled and governed situation. And then the second one is the EMC integration. That is one of the largest merger and acquisition in the tech industry. Huge, massive data need to be integrated. And EMC already have the governance platform. We in the situation evaluating that. By leveraging that EMC integration, we got funding, we got support, we also got a harmonized foundation for the company after integration. And then the third big one is the GDPR readiness program. So by doing that, we were able to cut across multiple systems, functional areas, be able to establish an lineage for the customer data and put a well governance control over customer data, improve the customer data quality at the same time.
Very good. With the enterprise information governance, since we are coming close to the end of this presentation, people who have been listening are learning a lot, or they may already understand what you're talking about, but there's a lot of information. What do you think should be the key takeaways for individuals who are watching or listening to this presentation?
I certainly learned a lot through the journeys, right? They are, I would say most of the takeaways I would consider can be put into the three buckets. The first one is really consider collaborative leading. Data is all over the place. It flows across multiple systems, functional areas. So it is really important to establish a collaborative relationship to drive this through. Share the credits, let your business partner shine, so they will become advocates for you later on. Then the second one is make sure when you do implement the programs, you provide more concrete, quick wins, establish some specific capabilities rather than try to boil the ocean, because you will be overwhelmed by the scope and the complexities. Then people may lose the patience along the way. Then the third one is important. It's more about managing the perception, right? Because especially when you're talking about governance, people immediately think about control, right? So that will trigger the organizational resistance. So you need to make sure people understand why we are doing this, what can we get out of this. This is not about control, it's more about enable business functions to be able to harvest the value in a more secure and trustworthy way.
Very good. Is there any other information that you would like for our viewing audience to know?
In today's digital world, every business transactions, every business processes are represented sooner or later in data. So it is not an optional choice whether we are doing enterprise data governance or information governance. It's about how we do it successfully, how would we be able to lead the organization through the massive changes without disrupting the business.
Thank you very much for joining us today. And everyone, please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews.